Working the sixth step in SAA. Many consider step 6 to be the core step of recovery. Let's learn more about it. The best way to get started working step 6 is to read about it in SAA's basic text, Sex Addicts Anonymous, or the Green Book. I can access this online by searching for SAA Green Book online. Insights and guidance on the fifth step starts on page 40. Step 6 reads, "We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character." This step is about my becoming ready to change. However, the Green Book reminds me that wanting our lives to change is not the same as being actually ready for change. In step 5, I worked with my sponsor to identify a list of the most common negative patterns of thought and behavior that came up while I shared my 4-step inventories. These negative patterns are referred to as defects of character, character traits, or character defaults. As I work step 6, I keep 3 things in mind. First, as the Green Book notes, these negative patterns represent a lifetime of ingrained beliefs, attitudes, and habits of behavior. Second, just becoming aware of these character defects can be painful, while imagining life without them may seem almost impossible. And third, it is helpful to remember that many of these negative patterns or character defects serve me in some way. If I eat a hamburger that costs me $10,000, my hunger is satisfied for the moment, even if it costs me dearly. To work step 6, I start by writing down the character defects that seem to negatively impact me the most. Some common character defects include being self-centered, angry, dishonest, codependent, judgmental of myself and others, resentful, being a perfectionist, arrogant and overconfident, impatient and controlling. However, these are just a few examples. I write down at most 5 character defects that I'm going to work on this time around. Yes, my sponsor and I may have identified many more character defects than just 5. However, I pick a small number to consider this time around. I can come back in the future as I grow in my recovery and work other defects then. Once I have my short list of character defects or traits written down, I answer the following 3 questions for each one. How does the trait hurt me? How does the trait serve or help me? And what would my life be like with less of this trait? As an example, I'm going to answer these 3 questions for one of my character defects. Procrastination. How does procrastination hurt me? For me, procrastination creates unnecessary stress, leaving tasks unfinished and nagging at my mind. This mental clutter robs my peace and fuels anxiety. Delaying tasks often makes them harder for me, lets others down, and weakens my self-confidence. When I struggle with procrastination, I feel constant unease, dreading what I have forgotten or what consequences await me. Next, how does procrastination help me? When I procrastinate on a task, I get immediate relief. I can relax or focus on something else I want or need to do. In the moment, this feels like a break, bringing a sense of peace, but only if I can push aside the fact that the task is still waiting for me. I might even hope that people will forget about it, or that it will somehow go away on its own, though in my experience that rarely happens. And finally, what would my life be like with less procrastination? Well, if I reduced or even eliminated severe procrastination, my self-esteem would grow, my peace of mind would improve, and I'd free up time for things that are more meaningful to me instead of constantly playing catch-up. As you can see, answering these 3 questions for each of my character defects helps me understand what is at stake in step 6. Do I understand my relationship to a character defect? And am I ready and willing to let go of it? As I work step 6, I remember 4 things. First, I need to write down my character defects. Seeing them in writing helps me acknowledge and understand them more clearly. Next, even though my sponsor and I may identify many traits to work on, I choose to focus on just 5 for now. Narrowing my focus makes change more manageable. I also remind myself that these traits exist for a reason. They have both helped and harmed me. While they may have once served a purpose, the harm they cause often far outweighs any benefit. Finally, step 6 is about readiness. It's not just about recognizing my defects, but preparing myself to let them go. Remember, you can do this. It works if you work it, because you're worth it.